My name is Cassy Summers. Welcome to the Curious Universe podcast. Welcome, welcome. Are you willing to be ruthless? That's what we're going to talk about today. Ruthlessness. Let me give you a little backstory as to, you might be wondering why this topic. What's going on here? I do a lot of what you could say self-exploration. I don't necessarily want to say self-development, but it's that too. But I'm always exploring myself. I'm exploring possibilities for me. I'm exploring if I have limitations that I'm unaware of. I'm exploring. And in this exploration, I was actually going through a advanced money workbook. I should put the link in here. It's one of the greatest books I've ever read in my entire life. And in it, it asked this question. That's part of how I explore, is I ask myself questions, or read books that ask questions, or sometimes I just explore here with you guys on the podcast. So it was asking, what are you unwilling to be that if you're willing to be it, would actualize more money in your life than you've ever had before, kind of something like that. And the first word that popped up, and that's usually, for me, it's the first thing that pops before I have a chance to think about it, is like the sweet spot, because it's as though my mind can't come up with an answer. It goes right into my insane mind. And my insane mind was like, I'm not willing to be ruthless, which was an interesting energy to look at. And so I'm like, ruthless. Wow, ruthless. I'm not willing to be ruthless. And I kind of started to look at over my life. I'm like, oh, that's so interesting. Yeah, because there's that moment where, now let's go to the animal kingdom for a second. Let's picture like two animals, and they're maybe like battering at each other, maybe having like a little bit of a tussle. But there's a moment where there's a choice. Who is willing to do whatever it takes? Who's willing to be ruthless? My point of view is they're usually the one that wins, because the one that has a back down in their world, if you push them hard enough, they will back down. So for me, I was never willing to be ruthless. It showed up, I went through separation. So I was with a partner for 11 years. We were married for 5. We had 2 kids. And during the breakup, it was, I was just kind of like, I don't know, like, take whatever you want, do whatever you want. I just want to make this easy on everyone. I want to make it easy on you. I want to make it easy on the kids. Totally not including making it easy on me. But, and so many people were like, you could be ruthless. Like, you could do all these things. And I was like, well, I don't want to do all these things. I just want this to be easy for everyone. That's just one example. There's multiple examples in my life where I start to look at, because I just backed down. I just went, no. Like that time where I could have been ruthless, I always chose not being ruthless. Now, this doesn't mean that I'm advocating tearing people apart like an animal, or that you should always be like, be ruthless. But as we've discovered, as we've talked about here on the podcast before, and if you do any kind of work with access consciousness, then you know that if you're not willing to be something, then it creates a limitation in your life. Willing doesn't mean that you are. Okay. So if I'm willing to be ruthless, it doesn't mean that I am ruthless. I still have total choice. And choosing from, oh, what's going to create my life? What's going to create the greatest possibilities here? Often it won't be to tear someone or something apart, but it might be. If you're not willing to even be that energy, then you create a limitation for yourself. So, for example, if I'm not willing to be ruthless, then everyone who is willing to be ruthless would look at me as like a nice, tasty treat because they know that I will not be ruthless. And trust me, I have attracted a lot of those people in my life. Because when it all said and done, I was not willing. I remember being a kid. And oh man, I think it was my sister or something was just like punching me in the face. And I was like, I was not willing. I would never do that to her. So I had to kind of take it because I was not willing. Now, if I was the energy of, just the energy, let's put the action over here. Imagine I was the energy of, if you hit me, I'm going to hit you back. Would they have hit me? Would that even have happened? Probably not. But I'm walking around with this energy of not willing, like to literally suppress all my animal instincts of survival, to compress all of my potency, because I was not willing. I would have killed myself first before I was willing to do that. So where are you willing to kill yourself first before you're willing to be ruthless? It's pretty big, huh? It was big for me anyways. But then I could see where this played out in my life in like more subtle ways. So that's like the pretty big obvious, you know. But if you're not willing to be ruthless, then you would be aware of everyone else's point of view of what ruthless is. Okay. Because we're all going to have a different point of view about it. So, for example, even winning, like as a kid, you know, you play board games. I still play board games. I love board games. But as a kid, you're playing board games, card games, something like that. Well, for me, winning the game was kind of ruthless. And whenever I won games, I could sense the upset in people's worlds, and where not just that they were upset, but they would actually like judge themselves and kind of like destroy themselves a little bit, which I thought was bizarre because I never really cared about winning. It never mattered to me. I just like playing. What mattered to me was playing. Winning was just like something that happened or didn't happen. It was kind of irrelevant to me. So knowing that it was creating so much for other people, I learned ways that I could cheat so that I could lose, so that I wouldn't be ruthless. Because to me, it would be ruthless to choose to win knowing it was going to hurt someone else. Now, if the other person didn't care, then I could win. But if it was going to hurt someone, to me, that was ruthless. So I could never win. Now, what if that is like the winning of the game of life, right? Because if, say, you created a lot of money and someone that close to you that you cared about didn't create a lot of money, you creating a lot of money from their eyes would be like you're winning and they're losing. And to do that and know that if I made money, it was going to make this person feel like crap about themselves. That's ruthless. That's the same thing, but just a little different. And it's so subtle that I wouldn't have realized that was going on without this awareness of the ruthlessness. Where else could this show up? If your business is successful and someone else that you care about or you're connected to, or maybe it's many people that you're connected to, and if their business is not successful and they're going to feel bad about seeing your success, it is a ruthless choice to have a successful business. How could you? Could could you do that to them? How could you have too many people show up into your classes or sell all these products with ease? You definitely, like some people even have this with their own parents, where their parents, they don't feel like they're the parent if the child were to succeed beyond them. So you want to make sure that you're always less than them, because it would be, you would shatter their reality. Like, that's just ruthless. How could you? So are you willing to be ruthless? And you know what? Here's the thing. This might not apply to you. You might be like, oh, I actually am totally willing to be ruthless. That's easy for me. That's okay for me. And that's awesome. But you might find that, oh, there's some subtle, maybe some hidden places where you're not willing to be ruthless. Whether it's ruthless with winning, ruthless with money, ruthless with like having the greatest relationship, having ease with parenting. Where are you not willing to be ruthless? That if you were willing to be ruthless, would not only actualize, here's the thing, it doesn't only actualize greater possibilities for you, but what I acknowledged, what I realized is that it opens up spaces for everyone else if they're willing to choose it. So for me, denying the ruthlessness of me, I realized was actually not gifting all the spaces of possibility that I could be, which is kind of just mean. It's kind of just mean for me to not be ruthless. Let me put that into an example in case you're wondering what I'm talking about. So fast forward, I have all these awarenesses. Now I'm with family. We're out camping. We're playing card games, and I'm kind of learning a new card game. So rookie, and I'm like, oh, and I get this hit, like, I think I'm going to win. And that energy comes up again, that like, oh, don't do that. That's not kind. That would be ruthless. You don't want anyone to feel bad. My niece was playing, so she's younger, and I don't want her to feel bad, and all these things coming up. And I shared this with my sister, and we had talked about the whole ruthless thing, and she was like egging me on, be ruthless, just be ruthless. So I actually sensed the choice to be the energy that I had labeled as ruthless, or to do the thing that I always did, was to kind of like shut down whatever this capacity was to win, this capacity to have anything and everything. And so I was like, this is uncomfortable, but I'm going to choose it. And I chose ruthless. And in this particular game we're playing, more than one person could win the round. And so I won, and then everyone else playing won. And then it was like, my sister said to me, what if you winning allows others to win? Look at this for you. So put this, explore your own consciousness right now with this. What if when you win, when you achieve something great, when you have something wonderful, you open up the space for others to win, to have something wonderful. We buy that winning, there's always a winner and there's a loser. That's this reality, this polarity, winner, loser, right? These are the different sides of the pole. What if you were functioning beyond this reality? What if there was no loser? What if it was a choice to lose? Because if I lose a game, I'm not the energy of loss, because I had fun. How can you lose when you're having fun? I gained fun. I didn't lose anything. I gained fun, right? But that's always been my point of view. That's my reality. So what's your reality? What do you know is possible? And what have you defined and labeled ruthless as that maybe isn't? And are you willing to be it? However that shows up for you. What would it open up for you? And what would it actually open up for other people? There are a lot of things in life that I didn't know was possible until I saw someone else choosing it. And I was like, that's possible? But I was told that wasn't possible. So I believed it wasn't possible. And if you're willing to be the ruthlessness that chooses all the impossible things, then you are the one inviting and inspiring others and showing them that it's possible. Yeah, it's possible. You can choose it too. You can choose this, you can choose that, you can choose anything you want to choose. Would you be willing to be so ruthlessly possible? Be that gift to the world. And if you're not willing to be ruthless, then you can't be ruthless to your limitation. Yeah. You have to kind of just eventually back down. Like those two animals. There's one that always backs down. Or if both of them are ruthless, then usually someone's going to die. And what if that was your limitation? What if you were ruthlessly pursuing possibility for you? What if you were ruthlessly tearing apart every limitation that you have? Because they're all lies anyways. It's just stuff that you bought that's not real and true. Tear it up, destroy it, be ruthless. See what shows up. You might start having more fun. I know I did. When I let that go, when I got really clear on that moment, that choice moment of, oh, this is where I could choose to be ruthless, or I could choose really to be ruthless to myself, to my own possibility, so that no one, it's not even that you make people feel bad, they choose to feel bad. Because they can choose to know that they can have anything that you're having. They can step into the possibility that you just opened the door for, where they can use anything and everything to create more limitation for themselves. But that's their choice. They get to have that. So stop trying to control that. What if you stop trying to control everyone to liking themselves more and be the ruthless instigator of possibility you truly are? I mean, doesn't it seem more fun? Don't you have that sense of lightness and fun when you tap into that for you? Now, some of you might have experienced ruthlessness in an abusive way. That's so different. Really, it's so different. What if you didn't have to worry about you being abusive? Just ask yourself, truth, am I abusive? If you get light that you are abusive, well, that's a whole nother exploration. Discovering what's underneath that. What's the value in that? What have you decided around that? Explore that. Explore your consciousness. Explore the choices around that. I'm going to guess you're probably, though, going to get, no, I wouldn't abuse someone. No. So then what if you didn't have to abuse you to make sure you weren't abusing others? Yeah. You could stop now. Okay. You can stop doing that now. If you needed permission, you just got it. If you needed someone to point this out to you, it's been pointed out. It's been spotlighted. You have been invited. You don't have to be ruthless to you. You don't have to destroy you. You don't have to abuse you. What if you're not as evil as you've been told you are? What if it's not evil for you to win, to receive, to have, to choose more than the people around you? They might be waiting for you to choose. What if it's a gift? What if it's this miraculous gift that you haven't been choosing? Those that desire to control you will accuse you. They'll use things like ruthless, like unkind. They will use words to control you, to make you destroy yourself for their gain or their synthetic gain. Because really, we are all part of an ocean of oneness. So we don't gain anything when someone diminishes themselves. We have less because in that ocean, if the ocean is diminished, meaning any drop, because so here we are, the ocean of oneness of consciousness, and at the same time we're our own drop, our own, pattern of harmony. So if any drop in the ocean is diminished, the ocean itself is diminished, and therefore we're diminished. So it actually never gifts more to diminish you, even though it will appear that way. I get it, because I was functioning from that. But truly, if you know that consciousness is, if you know that you are an ocean of oneness with all consciousness, then any diminishment of you is a diminishment of consciousness. What if you didn't choose that anymore? What if you kept choosing to ruthlessly have your own back, to ruthlessly expand your life, if ruthlessly choose everything that creates an expansion for you, knowing that it does expand for all, even if they fight you to the death and make it look like you're the most awful person in the world. What do you know about you? What do you know about expanding your own life that expands the lives of others? What do you know about being ruthless? There's lies and there are truths, and only you know what's true for you. So get clear, ask those questions, know that you know, explore, then be that ruthless bitch of possibility you are. Or bastard, because I like men too. We're going to include the men's and the women's. What if you being ruthless is a dynamic gift that you have been refusing to be? Thank you for exploring this topic with me today. I'm so grateful for you. And I look forward to exploring more topics with you in the future. Bye for now. Thank you for exploring the curious universe with me. Your curiosity matters. And what if together we could create a greater, more curious world?